An insolvent transaction is a transaction entered into by a company when it's insolvent, or a transaction that causes the company to become insolvent, and these transactions can often be reversed by a liquidator after the company enters liquidation. The purpose of Australia's voidable transactions regime is to prevent companies from unfairly reducing the assets available to creditors shortly before liquidation. If a company has transferred assets, made payments, or entered into transactions that unfairly favour certain parties or diminish the company's asset pool, a liquidator may be able to recover those assets for the benefit of all creditors. There are two primary categories of insolvent transactions. The first is an unfair preference, which occurs when a company pays one creditor in preference to others while insolvent, resulting in that creditor receiving more than they would have received in the liquidation. The second is an uncommercial transaction, which occurs where a reasonable person would not have entered into the transaction because it provided little or no benefit to the company or was detrimental to its financial position. Common examples include repaying loans to related parties shortly before entering liquidation, transferring assets for less than market value, selling valuable property to family members or associated entities at a discount, forgiving debts owed to the company, or making unusual payments to preferred creditors while other creditors remain unpaid. If a liquidator successfully establishes that an insolvent transaction occurred, the court may make orders requiring money to be repaid, assets to be returned, or compensation to be paid to the company. The goal is to restore the company to the position it would have existed had the transaction never occurred and ensure creditors are treated fairly. Importantly, these claims often involve strict statutory timelines, detailed financial analysis, and complex questions about insolvency. Whether a transaction is actually recoverable will depend on factors such as when it occurred, the company's financial position at the time, the relationship between the parties, and whether any statutory defences apply. Because insolvent transaction claims can expose directors, creditors, and family members and related entities to substantial recovery actions, understanding whether a transaction is vulnerable to clawback and what defences may be available is critical when dealing with an insolvent company or a liquidator's claim. Contact us today for a free 30-minute consultation with one of our experienced team of commercial litigation professionals and let us help you protect your rights.